Chinatown is the holy grail of 1970s cinema. Its twist ending is the most notorious in American film, and its closing line of dialogue is perhaps one of the most haunting pieces of dialogue that's ever been put on a screen. You've got Jack Nicholson in this movie at the height of his powers. You got director Roman Polanski, who at this point in his career was haunted by the savage death of his wife. You've got Robert Towne's fabled script, widely considered the greatest original screenplay ever written. The movie also marks really the eclipse of what was once the filmmaker-friendly studios of the era, as they slowly but surely gave way to corporate Hollywood as we
blockbuster movie
suffer in now.
You may think you know what you're dealing with, but believe me, you don't.
That's what the district attorney used to tell me in Chinatown.
Chinatown is set in 1937 and portrays the manipulation of a critical municipal resource, water, by a bunch of oligarchs. As I said, it stars Jack Nicholson as private investigator J.J. Gittes and Faye Dunaway as Evelyn Mulray. In classic film noir fashion, we get a series of twists and turns, and the web of lies and deceit grows and grows and grows until we get to, as I said, the famous twist ending. So hit me, Marvin. What'd you think? Watching this for the first time?
Oh, I love this movie. It was great. I've always feel like I've been a fan of these like noir style movies, or just
they're great.
I mean, like even the game LA Noire is amazing. I don't know why I was thinking this was gonna be based on the name. I thought it was gonna be like an 80s action movie.
You're thinking of Big Trouble in Little China. That's why.
Probably, yeah.
Which is a John Carpenter movie with Kurt Russell. Movie. That is amazing.
But I still was like pleasantly surprised. It was great. I enjoyed everything about this. So
Marvin, going into this, you weren't aware that you were about to watch arguably the greatest film ever made. I wasn't, no. Okay. And I'm not just saying that it's not like hyperbole. It's like literally that was arguable. A coercive way to say it. I mean, it just is what it is. You were like, I don't know, did I have to watch this? And I'm like, yeah, it's like literally one of the best movies ever made. I see now that it's a classic. I still don't think that this is one that a lot of like normies have seen. You got the screenplay, which again is considered like the greatest screenplay ever made. Like it's perfect in every single way. You've got the acting of Jack Nicholson, who, as I said, is like at the height of his powers, but he's like unbelievable. We started talking about it in the beginning of the show. Is like you don't replicate that. You just can't. He's a force of nature outside of just acting. Well, I haven't seen a lot of Jack Nicholson movies. I feel like because Jack Nicholson, I guess he did such a good job, but it didn't feel like it was limited to just it being Jack Nicholson. So you're saying that you think other actors could fill in as a JJ? Yes. That's like what Robert I think he did a great done it. Yeah. I honestly, yeah. I mean, I think he did a great job, but he did such a great job though that he just became Jake. That's the mark of great acting. For sure, is when an actor can be so good you don't even realize that it's them.
You don't see them as the actor anymore. You see them as the character they're portraying. This is one of the oldest fights going on in California, is the fight for water. They're still fighting about it. You can drive down the 5 or the 1 or the 101, and you go through those ag places, and they're like, there should be stuff planted here, but they won't give us any water. So let's talk about it. It's fascinating that it's still going on, and that it was going on even back then, and they're making movies about it back then. So I find that really interesting. But just the way that the movie jukes and jives around, it really keeps you interested, entertained in what's going on. Like what they did with the way that old Jack came along. He got his nose cut, and oh my God! You're like, that's cheap. You can kind of see his nose, but then they put the bandage on, and then he comes out. He's got the stitch on, and he's getting
that scene though. When it gets cut, it's fucked up. It's like you could feel it.
You hear it. Yeah, you hear it.
Oh man,
it was really well done though. But I think overall the acting in this is amazing. The direction is amazing. It's a great story. Lots of good twists. I don't know. I can't really complain about this movie. I don't know how you do too much. It's hard to really.
Not a thing. I thought maybe Marvin would like think it was boring, because it is like it's a slow moving movie, but that's like that's the genre. That's how these movies go. Is like it's like a slow build up to the ending where it's like, oh fuck, the big reveal.
Well, and they don't do. This is one thing that I love about like the old detective movies. They show you how they get to where they're going. Like he goes somewhere and he sees something and he's like, oh yeah. And then, you know, people are asking about it and he's not letting on what he's holding the cards tight to the chest.
Yep.
And he's figuring things out and you're kind of slowly seeing this, but you're seeing like, this is one thing that I think Beverly Hills Cop did really well too. But like, I feel like they don't do that in detective movies anymore. It's like, they don't show you how they're detecting and how they're getting from like A to B to C to figure out what the fuck happened. It's just like, I am smart enough and I deduced it in my head. Like, I want to see it, motherfucker.
I agree with that. I love the glasses, like how he saw them super early on, but he got interrupted.
Yep.
And then it came back like full circle.
And also the saltwater thing, where because like he was introduced to the saltwater pond like very early on.
Yeah.
To piggyback off of what Dusty was talking about, this movie or the screenplay is very much influenced by what's called the California Water Wars, which were a series of political conflicts between the city of Los Angeles and farmers and ranchers in Owens Valley of Eastern California over water rights. Town, the writer, was offered $175,000 to write a screenplay for The Great Gatsby in 1971, but he felt that he couldn't do better than the F. Scott Fitzgerald novel, so he instead asked the producer for $25,000 to write his own story, Chinatown, which the producer agreed to.
Sometimes artists don't hold on to their convictions and they never make anything of themselves. Sometimes they sell out and they become good for a while and then they don't do anything else. But sometimes they hold on to their convictions and they make a banger like this and they become legendary.
There's a little bit of a beef about that final scene. So this wasn't the original intent of Town. Apparently, he wanted Cross, her father, to die, and he wanted Evelyn to survive. I personally think the ending is great. I don't think that's arguable. Whoever made the decision to do it was right. And it is sad because like Dusty said, you're hit with like a dose of reality.
I just felt the entire ending, there were so many layers to it. Even with the cop shooting her, I'm like, if this cop, which he likely is on the payroll, like he's just like killing this woman to like secure, like to make his profits more, like to secure more money. Like I don't even feel like it was an accident that he killed her. Like it was like an intentional, and he says as little as possible.
Yeah.
Because he's referring to what somebody asked him what he did in Chinatown and he was like as little as possible.
As little as possible.
Yeah. And he said it again and it was,
Well, I also like the confrontation with Jack and the dad, because he asked him, he's like, what are you worth? You know, what can't you afford? What meals can't you get?
Right. Why are you doing
And he's
this?
like, it's about the future. But he's killing us. I mean, but he's also raping and murdering his
That's
family,
a valid question, right?
Right.
And that's one that, like, I know I've asked often is like, well, why do you, like, how much more money does Jeff Bezos need? Like, he's the richest dude alive. I really like the fact that, like, Jake is, like, a good guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he starts out, he's a little bit like, all right, he's just doing what he needs to do to make a buck, but, like,
he's frowned upon because of his work, because he's uncovering the dirty things of people's private lives, but he seems to be a fair, honest man.
But yeah, that's exactly why in the barbershop he calls it honest living, and he got so offended when the guy was like,
step outside, motherfucker,
but he's like,
let's go.
Because Jake's, if you think about it, if you're Jake, you're like, do you know what these cops and politicians are doing? Like, what I'm doing is nothing compared to what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm just surface level. Like this is nothing compared to how, what they're doing on the. Yeah.
The ending is purposefully, I think, a little bit ambiguous. Like
it is.
You don't get like solid proof that the cops were paid off by the guy or that they worked for him.
The actions,
But the actions, they don't tell you no. And her last words are like, he owns everything. Like he owns the police. Like, what are you going to do?
Right.
Like, So there is that lingering question, but that's why that line that I was saying that closes the movie, forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown, is so powerful. And it wraps the whole movie up. And what does that line mean? Really, what it means is it could be anywhere, but it's a place where you never really know what's going on. And when you try to help or change something, you usually screw it up even more. Everyone who's there learns it's best to just do nothing because you can't help. Lou telling him that at the end of the whole, situation is basically, it's like, yo, it's beyond your control, man. It's representative of a person's general like powerlessness against bigger, largely unseen forces. So the movie doesn't really have a happy ending for many reasons, because Evelyn's dead. The girl is going to end up with her scumbag grandfather guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Have a daughter.
But also
granddaughter.
But also what's sort of overshadowed by that ending is that the bad guy won. Like he's going to do his shady water bullshit and like fuck over all the farmers and all that stuff.
Well, that's what solidified it for me that the cops were bad is like, she gets shot.
Yeah.
And then the cop's like, all right, well, cut him loose. Let everybody go. I'm like, a lady just got shot in front of everybody. Yeah. And you're like, we need to detain and arrest everybody. They're like, no. Well, let him go. Cut him loose. Let everybody go. It's over now.
Yeah, he alludes to it in that conversation when they had sex about like his time in Chinatown. And that's where you get all that information of like, it's just a place where like you really are powerless to do anything. And that's just it. Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
That last scene was just so good. The look on his face when he says as little as possible is like, just complete hopelessness. It's like, geez, it was gut wrenching.
Great movie. I'm glad you liked it, Marvin.
It was amazing.
One of the best films ever made, objectively, no question. It's got an 8.1 on IMDb. I actually think that's pretty low. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10, to be honest. I don't think there's a single thing wrong with this movie other than maybe him beating the shit out of her, but that's like a 1970s thing, so I can't fault the movie. I can't fault the movie for that, really. But
yeah, I'm right there with you. It's a 10 for me.
Oh, baby, let's go. Dusty?
Ooh, that's fantastic.
I give it my perfect score. It's a 9 for me.
He used to give anything a 10.
He just refuses.
That's right. Nothing's perfect.
This movie was great. Yeah.
Right. It was amazing.
So
highly recommend it.
Perfect scores across the board. Love it.
It takes you to the grinder of the desolate humanness of us, because there's some people out there that do some shitty things for some shitty reasons, and life goes on.